Welcome to the final episode of Season 21 ABL Review. This is going to be a long one. We're going to cover everything that happened in the postseason for the South, because at the time of recording, everything's done. So might as well just put it all into one thing. And we're also going to cover the championship game in the North. Yeah, and then we'll talk a little bit about future season stuff at the end. So let's hop into it. So we got our first South semifinal game. This is a little wonky. Let's see if I can. There's like an ad that pops up that changes the ratio of the screen. Hang on, you're gonna see some live screen editing here. Yeah, I'm recording this on Sunday. What of it? No, do that. Gradual. That look? Yeah, it looks fine. We'll roll from here. Okay, so we've got the 1 seed Zane taking on the 4 seed Darren. Darren has never won in the South playoffs before. This is a very important game. He's typically in the top 2 or 3 of the regular season and just has never been able to win a playoff game. So we hop in. That was faster than I was ready for. But so we get the Glaceon versus Tatsugiri lead. I think, and then we see the Tatsugiri Terra Fairy and eat this Ice Beam. I think this was such a good decision to Terra Fairy right away here, because Zane has seen Darren go. I'm gonna slow this down. This seems just a touch too fast today. Zane has seen Darren beat Scarf Glaceon a lot this season. So I think he was ready. He didn't want to get like freeze dried right out the gate. That's 4x effective. Definitely would have killed his Tatsugiri. I think the call to go fairy type here was very good. Unfortunately, he eats this Ice Beam. And we see this Draco Meteor miss. Now, that sucks. But 2 things. Unless this was Specs, which I don't know if we ever see, I don't think this would have KO'd, and then we'll just have to keep track of how much damage Glaceon takes, because how much, if at all, it would have mattered for the rest of the game. So we're going to keep an eye on that. So we get a double switch out here. Do we get a double switch out here? No, we don't. Just tries to clean up there. Doesn't get it. By the way, it is unfortunate that he missed that Draco Meteor, but we'll touch up on it later, because I think he would have had to switch out there anyways unless it killed, which again, I don't think it would have. So with close combat doing a ton of damage to the Rotom Wash, Darren's going to calc that, realize that his Choice Banded, switch out into Dragapult to be able to block that next one, force that out. Draco Meteor comes out here onto the Tatsugiri. Let's see how much damage this does here. Oh, double switch. Okay, smart. This is a really good game. So we get knockoff, get rid of the Assault Vest. Ends up not really coming into play later because of how the rest of this goes, but we get a couple of Horn Leeches here. Keep the Ogerpon healthy enough to avoid getting 2-hit KO'd by the Ting Lu. Get the crit there. So the first one do 42, second one do 49. That definitely made a difference as to whether or not this Ogerpon Cornerstone could survive. Because like it comes out a lot better because it got more recovery. I do think, like Zane says, now the RNG is equalized. Statistic wise, I don't think it has, because it's a 10% chance to miss Draco and like a 1% chance to, or it's a 2% chance to crit or something like that. But I think in terms of impactfulness, I actually think Zane's probably a little bit Zane. Okay, I keep saying Zane and it almost sounds like Zang, and it's messing with my brain. Okay, I think he might actually be a little bit ahead. So it's the Ice Beam come out, gets the KO there. So, and again, I guess this, now that I'm thinking about it, this RNG might not have really mattered, because he still would have lived. I think we would have gotten, it would have been on lower HP, but it still would have been KO'd by the Glaceon. So probably didn't matter in the end there. We got the Tauros coming out. He's going to go for an Iron Head that time, because it's kind of split the difference of being able to hit the Glaceon real hard, maybe be able to hit a Clefable if it comes in, and get damage on the Dragapult. I like the mid-ground play there. Ballsy play to stay in. Just like, oh, maybe he won't go for Thunderbolt, maybe he won't go for Draco, Shadow Ball. Any of those I think would have KO'd. He made the ballsy play to stay in, got a little bit of damage on this Rotom. Worth it? Probably not. We got Zapdos coming in, getting burned. Not too much, honestly. That's probably better than, I guess there's not a chance for it to get toxic, really. Goes for the Volt Switch. Unfortunately, if he'd gone for Discharge or Thunderbolt, would have gotten the KO there. But probably would have put him in a bad position for Glaceon then to come in and give him some trouble later. So, but we obviously see that here's a problem. Pain Split. We actually get this Rotom Wash getting a little bit more healthy. That's kind of a problem. We are going to get the Close Combat to go off. That is going to lock him into Close Combat. We're going to see the Dragapult come out. I believe he U-turns on this turn. Oh no, Hex. Okay. Crit did and didn't matter. Wouldn't have gotten the KO there, but he would have just followed it up with another Hex anyway, so it doesn't, make a difference just in terms of how many turns the battle is, right? So yeah, good play there, running the Hex. Like, he knew he had ways to spread status on his team. I love this. I love the Hex on there. Really smart move. Gouging Fire is going to come out. Now, we talked a lot about hacks up to this point, and like how much it's equalized out. And you never want hacks to be the deciding factor in a battle. It's not a good feeling when that happens. But any hacks that happen gets canceled out in this series of plays here. I've always so there's a couple of rules that I talk about specifically relating to Clefable. One of them is always bring a way to KO Clefable. Like, it's just one of those Pokemon that if you don't have a way to do 60% to it with one hit, regardless of boosts that it may have, you're probably gonna lose to Clefable. It's just typically the way it goes. There's another rule for Clefable, and it's you gotta know if it's gonna be Magic Guard or Unaware. And that's the rule that Zane breaks here. He starts Dragon Dancing up in front of this Clefable. Now, in his defense, I think he's super thrown off by the fact that he gets this crit Flare Blitz right off the bat. I think that probably messed with his calcs a little bit, made him think yeah, that's about how much a +1 Flare Blitz should do. Maybe he was skipping turns, he didn't realize it was a crit. He's just yep, that's how much a +1 would do. I think that may be in play here. Because then we see this Reflect go up, which is way out of the box thinking by Zane. Not by Zane. By Darren. Really out of the box thinking. I think it really comes, it's a good play here. It really works out pretty well. Because now it's, Zane's just going to decide to Dragon Dance up a bunch here, and he thinks he's getting a real sweet deal out of this. Moonblast comes out, not doing a lot. Great, I can set up more Dragon Dances and then Morning Sun after this. At this point, Zane thinks he's won, but he has forgotten a very important rule that, you got to check and make sure that this is actually Unaware Clefable. And it wasn't, so it was a whole bunch of wasted turns, so any hacks really kind of got, evened out there. And at this point, he just doesn't have enough tools left to win against what there still is. Ironhead's going to be able to pick up that KO easily. Hitmonchan's going to come out, and it's going to actually... Does it KO the Tatsugiri? Yeah, the Close Combat. That's pretty strong. Surprising. And even if the... even if he did... I guess he just wanted to get the last KO with his Terra Water Glaceon. So we see that it never took any more damage, so I don't think that Draco Meteor miss mattered at all, really, because as long as it lived, it still would have... It took no more damage, so it wouldn't have made any difference in what happened going forward. That wraps that up. At this point in time, that left Zane with having to beat Zeng. Oh boy, that game's coming up. It's going to be... I'm going to mess up names there. But Darren's moving on to the north after that, so good for him. We can move on to our next South semifinal game. We've got Zeng versus Ishii. Obviously, this feels like it's set up to be such a weird game because we have this slower, bulky team that Ishii's been using and this setup spam kind of gimmicky team that Zeng has been using. So, hop into it. Focus Blast miss right out the gate. Unfortunate because we see the Iron Crown go to sleep. That's going to be a big setback for Zeng. Arcanine's going to come out on the double switch. I'm really surprised how much less... I felt like that would have done way more recoil. What the heck is this music? Okay, we're skipping to whatever the next song is. I don't like this. Okay. Sorry about that. That's just I just needed to address that. That was weird. So Flare Blitz comes out, gets the burn. Not too much of an issue with Drifblim, to be honest. Strength Sap is going to get it almost all the way back up to full. It's going to send this Arcanine out of here. Cresselia is going to come in on another Strength Sap. Probably a good call there. He's just going to hopefully work it down with Recoil. Gets a Will-O-Wisp on this, which at the time I thought was kind of a weird call. But then after that, he's also going to reveal a Hex, which is a good way to help wear down Cresselia. I like the set there by Zheng. Actually, we have a turning point basically in this match pretty early on. So watch this. We get Glacier coming out, Destiny Bond on this. Avalanche doesn't pick up the KO. If that had been an Icicle Crash, likely would have KO'd. And we'd have this Glacier go down. And I think that would have been a big play. Doesn't actually happen, which really sets the Drifblim back a bit. But it is slower due to the Trick Room. How did he do that, honestly? Wow. So, that's going to be a team building mistake, I think, that's a big team building mistake from Ishii to be able to have his team is set up to take advantage of Trick Room, and his Glacier is actually underslowed by the Drifblim. You know what? We're gonna do a field trip. We're gonna go into the damage calculator, and let's see if we can. Any of these look good for? That one looks fine. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we got Drifblim. We're just gonna do a blank set. We're gonna do 0 and down. Okay, let's quiet nature's down speed. So that's as slow as it can get. Glastrier. Yeah, so oh wow, he actually had to have speed investment in this to be able to. So that is I'm thinking about this right? Like he had to be adamant and at least 112 speed for that Destiny Bond to actually Oh no, never mind. It was down priority. Okay. Brett was yelling at me. I could hear him. Okay. Let's get back into this. Sorry about that. That was weird. Yeah, so sorry, slander from me against Ishii being like, oh, team building mistake. No, it's a decreased priority move. So also, if he had been Icicle Crash, he would have outsped under Trick Room and just clean KO'd the Drifblim, avoided all that anyways. So a couple of weird things going on there. But that means he also couldn't follow up with another less slow move. If he did have let's see, would have probably had Earthquake in close combat or maybe Heavy Slam. I don't know. But didn't go for him there. But yeah, Avalanche is a tough move because especially in Trick Room, you're using a decreased priority move in Trick Room, which kind of defeats the purpose of what you're doing. But also, he's had pretty good success with this Trick Room team, so guess I shouldn't judge it. So anyways, Drifblim gets a little boosted up there. Hex comes off, pretty decent damage on the Cresselia, all things considered. Future Sight goes up, and I like what Zheng does is he identifies this as an opportunity to get in the Iron Crown and try to wake up, or at least burn a turn right there, and he does. Takes the Future Sight attack pretty well. If you're going to have something go down to this Iron Jugulus, I guess this is the thing to do it with. Iron Boulder is going to come out. So we had, I blew past it a little bit, but we had Iron Jugulus with its booster energy getting the speed boost. Iron Boulder with its booster energy coming out and getting the speed boost. And now we have kind of a weird thing happen here, because he Swords Dances on the switch there. That's awesome. That's really good for him. And we have a Fake Out come out. Not do a lot of damage, but, you know, every little bit of damage helps, right? So, at this point in time, let's break it down. Depending on the moveset, okay? If we have close combat, Mighty Cleave might kill the Cresselia at this range. Honestly, like, close combat, the Mighty Cleave is really all you need. So if he has Earthquake, that's even better for this. But he goes for the Mighty Cleave, which makes me think he might have had a bug move like Mega Horn and what's that other? And maybe Zen Headbutt. It's the wrong move choice. If he had close combat and or Earthquake and he overthought and tried to hit the Iron Jugulus, bad play, because he's in a winning position right here if he has close combat. Because I definitely think a +2 would have KO'd the Tinkaton from full. Doesn't get it, gonna go down hard to that foul play. And Knockoff doesn't pick up the KO on the Drifloon, but he's gonna Strength Sap and get healthy again. But he follows up with a foul play, does get the KO, and he's gonna go down to the Aftermath. So got a little bit out of Drifloon on the way out there. Now Zeng's gonna go for broke, try to tail glow up. Really kind of shocked me here going for the Thunder Wave. Figured he'd just go for the Baton Pass, but he actually hangs on with the Focus Sash, gets the full para as he passes Sceptile. This is the scenario that Zeng needed. He needed that full para there. Really good call going for the Thunder Wave, knowing he had the Focus Sash to back him up. Gave him the opportunity. He didn't have a lot of outs, so it's a 25% chance for that to work, right? And actually, I guess there was more upside because he actually got the full para on turn 19 and then also got a full para on turn 20, which he needed the full para on turn 20 regardless. But it gave him a 25% chance to get another full para on turn 19, which means maybe he could tail glow again and get this Sceptile up to +6 in a perfect world, right? So we're going to see Cresselia come out on the raw Terra Blast, which seems like a weird call, but I do think it was the right one in this scenario, just to go for the raw Terra Blast there. Follows it up with another one. We're going to get a Focus Blast come out, kill the Glacier. Now, he's in a good spot here. Like, a Focus Blast hit on this would also be able to... Okay, I'll talk about that here in a minute, too. So, another Focus Blast comes out, gets the Brute Bonnet, and then dies to this... How is this faster? Zeng, come on. Why is this faster? This isn't Scarf or nothing. We saw the booster energy pop. 346, 372. That's a mistake. Unless he was thinking he could somehow pass a speed boost too. Yeah, it's a big mistake by Zeng. He's going to go down there. And at this point, he doesn't have enough pieces left to win. But he's just going to fight. Razor Shell really didn't make much of didn't make much of a difference there. Maybe changes the score a little bit, because then that Razor Shell would have KO'd. But as you can see, it was Focus Sash, so it already had its Focus Sash broken. And it's going to come in and get KO'd by this Air Slash here. Wouldn't have made a difference. And then obviously, that's a Dark type. Oh, that's a Dark type there at the end, so he wouldn't be able to Thunder Wave, paralyze it, and make shit happen. So he just needed like Air Slash misses. But even then, Arcanine probably had extreme speed in the back, so it would have been able to come in and clean up. What did we learn from this? I think Zeng made a couple of team building mistakes that really set him back. Ishi's team seems to be giving people a lot of trouble. This is probably, and it's not even a full Trick Room team, which I think is good, but this is a heavy Trick Room component team. Like, it's got a lot of stuff that can benefit from the Trick Room, and he's using Cresselia to set up Glacier for the Trick Room. Glacier is really thriving in this Terra meta. And it's creating team building problems, especially when people have like more gimmicky teams like Zeng has. I do think that puts people in a harder planning position for a team like this that is pretty soundly put together. But Ishi's going to get the win. Zeng's going to go to the third place game for a second chance of making it to playoffs, which actually we're going to talk about last for the South, because we're going to talk about the South Finals. Now, the reason we're talking about South Finals right now is because both of them had pretty much gotten what they wanted out of the season. They're like, hey, we're both in playoffs. We're friends. Let's just have some fun, because the upside is they get the first choice in the North next season. That's what they're playing for here, and maybe for a little bit of bragging rights. But this is kind of some fun teams that were slapped together. So the rules that they did here were the Pokemon were selected via random number generator. Brett made Ishi's team, I made Darren's team, and then it was just put some fun sets on there. Not a lot of guidance as to what exactly a fun set is, but that was the assignment, and I think Brett and I both delivered. So let's hop into this game and just kind of see some of these fun sets. So now, first of all, I do want to say, I guess I didn't make it clear, but Ting-Lu was supposed to be a suicide lead. You'll see it's set later. So we got the Glaceon coming out against the Arcanine. Not the ideal lead, as we'll see the set in a little bit. See the Ting-Lu come out here. Close combat. Unfortunate that he got that. It's obviously not what we wanted. Endure. That way he can go down to 1 HP. And he gets the Custat Berry. And he went for the Earthquake here, which I think is probably a good play. This is also like Stealth Rocks and Memento. So it was really designed to be a suicide lead. This Kricketune is such a cool set. I love what Brett put on it. It's Trailblaze, Fell Stinger, Baton Pass, Sticky Web. Really a do-it-all Kricketune. So now Darren's going to try to set up with the Glaceon here. He's Terra Ice just because it had to stay Ice type for this to work. And he's going to go Substitute, but unfortunately the Glastrier kind of puts a hamper on the plans. He's going to Calm Mind up there. Not the right play. He's going to realize that, and he's going to get out of here. Heavy Slam on the Muck. Does a pretty good amount of damage. Thankfully, he doesn't seem to have high horsepower. Would have put Muck in a bad spot there. Muck's still in a bad spot. But he gets a little greedy and goes for the Trailblaze on that turn, which is going to allow Muck to set up a Curse, which I also think is kind of a weird call, because you'll see what other moves he has here. And more greed, going for the Trailblaze here. Just wants this Glastrier to be so fast. And he's gonna get Drain Punched and lose and get crit. That's what happens when you get greedy, right? So Icicle Crash here, now because of the defense boost, not able to pick up the KO. Muck's able to get the KO on the Glastrier. Big piece off the field for Ishii. Iron Moth's gonna come in, no boots, but we're gonna get the boost because we're gonna get the booster energy. Psychic's gonna be able to pick up the KO on Muck. Got Hisuian Arcanine coming out. Now, Hisuian Arcanine is arguably the least fun set that I put on here, but that's just because I think Choice Banded Adamant, Head Smashes, and Flare Blitzes are fun. I think that's a fun set, so sorry, had to do it. Glaceon's going to come out, get put right to sleep. And then we're going to see what the Brute Bonnet does. Decides to go into the Kricketune and try to take advantage of the sleeping Pokemon and try to get the whole setup thing that we had talked about. Gonna get the speed boost there first. And Glaceon's gonna go ahead and set up a Snowscape. So this is Ice Body leftovers Glaceon that also has the defense boost because of the snow. Gonna get behind a Substitute, Ice Body. Yep, see, it makes up pretty much all that HP right back. Fiery Dance is not going to pick up the KO, but this Glaceon's gonna keep recovering, almost back up to full. And just is able to live that Fiery Dance and pick up the KO on a crit with Freeze Dry. Very lucky there. Definitely recognize that. And Glaceon's going to get back a little bit more HP from 1 to back up to like 15%. Kricketune going to pick up the KO with Fell Stinger. And now it's got the +3 attack. Pretty scary, especially considering the fact that this is... well, not really, because we got the extreme speed in the back. Just solid team building, I think. Good job, Darren. So I like what we have going on. Brute Bonnet's going to come in. I think it tries to put something to sleep. Yeah, put something to sleep with Spore. It decides that it's going to be the Clefable. Burns the first turn of sleep. Lives the Earth Power, just barely. And then Dirty Roll here. That's a very dirty roll. Oh, but I guess it doesn't matter. I thought it woke up. Because now we're down to 2-2. Dragapult's gonna come in. Clear Body Dragapult. We don't get to see the whole set here. This is supposed to be, this is Dragon Dance, Power Herb, Phantom Force. Don't end up seeing it come to fruition here. We just see the Dragapult just do some Dragapult things, so a lot less exciting. Yeah, he says he misclicked there. I think, yeah, I do. That made a difference, right? If he clicked knockoff or crunch, if he clicked, well, I guess he clicked crunch there is what happened. But if he clicked Sucker Punch there, might have KO'd, probably would have KO'd. In which case, Arcanine would have had to kind of save the day with hopefully a like Choice Banded Extreme Speed might have been enough. I think that would be the hope, but. Yeah, I mean that's I don't think Choice Banded Extreme Speed would have KO'd Jugulus from 51%. But that's how it goes. Both of these guys are going to the north. Darren's going to enjoy the first selection in the draft. And now we'll go on to the third place game, which has significantly higher stakes. So winner of this has, I guess not significantly higher stakes. This might be a 0 stakes game. This might be a high stakes game. Because what's on the line here is the winner will basically be the 9th team in the north. If we need 9 teams in the north, then the winner of this gets that spot. That is solely dependent on if we get another player. So Zhang might be beneficial to go recruit somebody because he'll be in the north. Or if he doesn't want to make it in, maybe he just doesn't recruit so that way he can stay in the south another season. Some people want to do that. So, but loser will definitely be in the south next season. That's what's going on in this game. So, pretty high stakes. Let's hop into it. So I just watched this morning. This game went on last night. So we're gonna see the Thunder Wave come out here, and gets the full para. Really surprised to see Fury Cutter come out. Also, I'm honestly surprised to see how much, like, that did decent damage for being a resisted hit and only like 20 base power. Flamethrower is going to do a pretty good amount of damage. We do see the dual wing beat come out. This is also -1 dual wing beat doing 70% to a Tatsugiri. I'm pretty surprised by that. Maybe that's just me. And we see the paralysis come out here. That means this is a quick attack coming out from the Scyther here. Unfortunately, gets fully parried and KO'd by the Tatsugiri. Sceptile is going to come out, set up a Sword Dance from the Tatsugiri. Maybe a little risky, but manages to hang on there. Eject Pack on Tatsugiri, like that play by Zane. I'm going to come out into the Crocolore to ignore these boosts. Earthquake still does a pretty decent amount of damage. Dodges the Will-O-Wisp. That's really rough. Like, that would have allowed this Crocolore to pretty safely be able to recover back up. But he's going to go out into the Morgrim here. Earthquake's going to come out. He's going to paralyze this. We see a lot of Prankster T-Wave going on in this game, and you'll see that more later. Tatsugiri's going to come out and finally finish what it started with the Draco Meteor. Drift Blade Moon on the Tatsugiri. Memento. I like that. Shadow Ball, and then we get the... So we're actually seeing Flare Boost... seeing Flare Boost Drift Blim, which is not a common set. But the Memento from the Tatsugiri is going to allow this Alolan Persian to try to take advantage of a setup. See Nasty Plot going up. Tricks a weakness policy for a Flame Orb. Not something I can say I've seen that happen too often. Flame Orb's not going to hurt Alolan Persian too much, but it's also not going to be able to benefit from that weakness policy. Combustion's going to come in. Another Nasty Plot goes up. I kind of love what happens here. Hang on. So we got the Protect. It gets the speed boost. So right here, Zane plays he does some big brain plays here. Right here, I think he thought he was going to be outsped, and there was going to be a baton pass to either Paldean Tauros, Volbeat, or Driftblim, and he was going to outslow. The baton pass was going to go off, and then he was going to be able to get rid of that speed boost by baton passing. That's why he went for Icy Wind here. Doesn't end up working out that way. If he'd gone for Thunderbolt, I think that almost certainly KOs. So pretty unfortunate that he kind of big brained himself out of a play there, but I also think I totally get why he did it, because it makes sense for this Combustion. If it was, so 229 times 1.5 is plus like 115-ish, which would put it at like 340 something. I don't know, if he was max speed, then that wouldn't have mattered anyways. He probably should have just gone for the Thunderbolt in retrospect. Ends up getting close combated there and KO'd. Pretty unfortunate. Big mistake there. But he did at least keep this slow enough. We're going to see the Protect go off. Tries to get the Trick to go through. Doesn't happen. Also would have been a nice way to block a Baton Pass. But this thing is carrying Night Slash. So we're just seeing Combustion by itself put in a surprising amount of work. Another close combat comes out here. I'm surprised he didn't bother to go to Crocolore, but I do love this from Paldean Tauros Aqua. We're gonna see the Salac Berry, and he's gonna Terra Water. I guess not just to power up the Raging Bull, but we're also going to see him eat the Salic Berry on the next turn, so he double dips on that. I think that's super cool with Cudchew. So now we're going to see this next Thunder Wave come out on the bulk up. Unfortunately, that doesn't manage to pick up the KO, and the lunge is going to take him out. And pretty easy cleanup here for Zane. Going to be able to deal with his Crocodile relatively easy with what he's got left. We're just going to put this on fast and finish talking about this. Kind of a trend that we've seen from the ABL South, that the number one team, or one of the top performing teams in the regular season, tends to miss the playoffs. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just people figured them out. Jesus, goes on forever, I guess. I think I must have stopped watching this because but this seems to be a pattern over the past few seasons. So Zane will, unfortunately for him, after having a really good regular season and nearly breaking like some KO records with Tauros, is going to be returning to the South. Sorry, everybody else. That's a rough time. But Zane positioning himself to potentially make it up to the North. We're going to have 3 people coming to the North next season, again, potentially, that have never played there before. So that's exciting. But I think that wraps up what we have to talk about with the South. So, like I said, let's go over to the standings. So, Zane returning to the South. Zeng potentially returning to the South. Mike, Tyler, Connor, Papku, and Mitch all going to be coming back for the South. The only people who are guaranteed to be going up are Michael and Darren. So, and coming down, these spots are going to be filled with Curtis and Logan. So that's definitely happening. If we get another player, if we get a new player coming in, then Zeng will go up to the North, and that new player will slot in here in the South. So that's what's going on. I think that's all we need to talk about with the South. I don't know if the MVP tab is up to date. Let's take a look at the stats, see how far out there. I don't know if they have. Doesn't look like they have. Sorry. But last week or finals and semifinals up. That's fine. We have Torosaka with 17 KOs. I don't remember forgetting that final week. But I think that's all we have to talk about here in the South. And now we can go over and talk about the North. And it's just the finals. So we're just going to pop right into this replay here. So we got Zach seeking, I believe, his 4th championship. I only think the championships he won were part of that three-peat he did back towards the tail end of Gen 8. And here he is again back in the playoff picture. Drew's first time being in the finals here. Really kind of a meteoric rise from kind of I think an unassuming team in the South, and then made it to and then I think won the first season of the South we had in season 19. Made it to the playoffs last season, I believe, got bounced in the first round, and now has made it to the finals. Really kind of on a rocket trajectory here. This is a very good game. I just watched it before we recorded here. I kind of put off watching it when it came out. I'm like, I'll get to it before I do the podcast. Wish I'd watched this sooner. It's a very good game. There's a couple phases in this game. So we get Cyclozar, you turning out here and Terrafaring. I gotta tell you, when I use Cyclozar, I always found I want to Terra it as soon as possible because this typing sucks. So we knock off the heavy duty boots on Quagsire. That's going to become an interesting theme here as we go on. So the spikes go up from Quagsire. Heatran's going to come out, eat that Bleak Wind Storm pretty well. Does get speed drop, but that really doesn't matter. Hardy, you turn out into the Hisuian Samurai, which gets burned right away. That's got to feel good for Drew. Having that be burned, now this is basically just a hazard stacker. It's not an offensive threat hardly at all anymore. And it's just going to get whittled down faster with that sand and the burn. Ceaseless Edge is going to come out and set up that first spike. So we play a while with some spikes on the field here. Each team has a spike on their side of the field, and we're going to see Drew block the rapid spin, keep that spike up with the Dusclops here. Gets you turned out on, and we're going to see a Will-O-Wisp. That didn't really matter here, but Monkey Dory is going to come out. Zapdos switches in. Dusclops here is unfortunately going to be taking a decent amount of damage, and it's not good for Drew because he's using it it's pretty important for him to try to block these rapid spins. And that's because that's the goal here, is keep up that spike, wear down this team if he can keep that rapid spin off, because Zach's other Pokemon all want to use items that aren't heavy duty boots. Drew's team being a little bit slower can get in, having pretty decent recovery around the across the board, can get away with having heavy duty boots. We already saw Quagsire with them. Zapdos probably has them. Actually, no, we see Zapdos' item here in a second. So I think there's more incentive in this battle for Drew to keep up hazards on his opponent's side and get rid of hazards on his side than anything else. So T-Tar is going to come out, take that little bit of spikes damage on a Volt Switch. Quagsire is going to come in. Now this would be an opportunity that if he wanted to try to set up another spike, he could. I think it's smart for him to just go for the body press, get damage. Like, there's kind of a weird diminishing returns thing on spikes. The first one does 1/8, second one does 1/6, third one does 1/4. The difference in damage, at least like in my mind, from 12.5% to like 18 2/3%. I believe that's the right ratio. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a benefit for 2 spikes versus if you can get up all 3 spikes, then that feels like more damage. Like it doubles like 1 spike to 3 spikes is basically double the damage, but 1 spike to 2 spikes is only 1.5 times the damage. So it doesn't feel like as big of an increase. So I think it's wise for him not to try to stack spikes, because he does have there is a spinner on the other side of the field that he's going to have to contend with. This turn right here, Zach tried to, tried to catch the Dusclops switching in to block a rapid spin. Actually, I guess he U-turned out there. Because it didn't make sense for Quagsire to stay in, but Drew kind of big balls it here and decides like, nah, I'm staying in. He's not going to power whip me. He's not going to drop kick me, whatever. I'm just going to stay in and get this Toxic off, and I think that's a smart play. Ended up working out for him here. Also has just like no fear of a Grass Knot coming out, which I would have had fear of. E-Train's going to come in. You can see that it is heavy duty boots. They get knocked off here. Misses that Magma Storm. Now that kind of sucks, because I think we see a Magma Storm hit later. I'm going to remember 62%. Because at the end of this turn, he would have been taking 18 damage from Toxic, another 12 damage from the Magma Storm. That's 30%. So if the Magma Storm does 32%, that means that would have been a KO'd Tornadus if this Magma Storm had hit. So unfortunate miss there, and that is going to set up quite a bit for the rest of the game. He's going to U-turn out here to avoid the Magma Storm. And this, we're going to see the Magma Storm be able to wear down this Soon Samurott a bit. Quagsire is going to come in as Ceaseless Edge goes off, gets up that other spike. And also I just want to bring up, Bleak Windstorm missed there, which is like good kind of like justice for Drew. So just something I want to talk about with Soon Samurott, because I was just talking about how there's not a big difference between, like the difference between no spikes and 1 spike is way bigger than the difference between 1 spike and 2 spikes. So except in the case of Student Samurott, because you're also just doing damage. It's just like the fact that it's just a side effect to get up another layer of spikes is fucking crazy. So the Bleak Windstorm dodge here is actually super big, because this Quagsire is able to recover, and it's gonna, oh wow, two misses in a row. I forgot about that. So now we see the other spike go up. If he had, I guess that's the best move he had to go for there. Bleak Windstorm is gonna hit on the Dusclops this time, and it's gonna feint, which means that now the spin blocker is gone. So whenever these guys, so now we have 2 spikes on each side, and it's just going to be kind of a race to see who can get rid of their spikes first, I think. And Cyclozar is going to get in first and be able to rapid spin away those spikes. Unfortunately for him, though, he's not going to be able to get rid of the, he's not going to be able to take out the Serena before it gets rid of the spikes. Terra Blast misses out on the KO just barely, so he's going to U-turn out and get out of there. And the Zapdos is going to come in and actually show off the Rocky Helmet, keeping that Serena pretty darn low. Surprised we didn't see Zapdos come out earlier to try to get that Serena down. But here's the benefit here. Here's the good spot Drew's in. He still has a spinner. He still has his hazard setter. On the flip side, the hazard setter for the only hazard setter that Zach now has access to is the Stealth Rocks from this Tyranitar, and his spinner's pretty low. And how much does a Pokemon lose from Rocky Helmet? Let's take it back a turn. We see the U-turn, and it loses 17, and he's at 17. So that means that if Drew manages to get up more spikes, he can block the Rapid Spin with the Zapdos and kill it with the Rocky Helmet, which means the hazards won't be removed. So Drew's in a good spot in terms of the hazard war here, but he is starting to lose a lot of pieces, right? So, but he's basically regained a spinner, or a spin blocker in Zapdos. So we're a little bit behind where we were. So Volt Switch out here, just try to wear that guy down a little bit. Stone Edge, each Stone Edge is pretty big. Rapid Spin, he's totally yeah. If he had dodged that Stone Edge, he's in a crazy position where he could probably afford to. Actually, he gets knocked off here. Oh, he dies to the knockoff, because if he dodged that Stone Edge, he could Rapid Spin and then probably do some decent damage to T-Tar with the Terra Blast after, or just U-turn out, which would have also been good. Ivy Cudgel's going to pick up the KO on Serena, which means that there is now no chance for him to clear hazards. So any hazards that go up are staying, but looking at the piece he has left, he basically has support pieces and then Ogerpon. And I don't think the way these slower teams work is typically you want to wear down more of the team. And as you start to lose pieces, you really want to be up 6-4 if you want to have a chance of winning, and he doesn't have that right now. I think he'd feel better about it if Ogerpon had a better matchup what's left, but Raging Bolt hasn't taken any damage. Monkey Dory we know is Scarf, so it outspeeds this. This is kind of a rough spot for him, because it's going to be hard for him to get hazards up, so it's going to be hard for him to wear these Pokemon down. And this Tornadus Therian could have potentially been dead, which would have been a big blow to this, because he's just able to regenerate so much and stay so healthy. You see the Raging Bolt come in. I thought we might see a Play Rough come out here. I thought Play Rough might be able to do it for him, but he doesn't appear to have it. The Trailblaze actually does give him a lot more hope. Wow, yeah, so see that Megaswarm did 49%. That means if he had missed it, this definitely would have been a dead Tornadus. All those turns ago, ends up not being the case. We're going to see him try to U-turn here. Blocks the U-turn with the Rocky Helmet. Huge play there. Very smart move. Just kind of fishing here for Thunderbolt Paras. I think that's the best thing you can do. Manages to hang on there from the Stone Edge. And really wear down this Tyranitar. And also with the Rocky Helmet, be able to get a little bit of damage on the way out. It's really coming down to the wire. But yeah, the Heatran's going to be coming. It's lost its heavy duty boot, so it's going to be coming in at 24%. That's probably going to be able to get 2-hit KO'd by a Psychic for Monkey Dory. And the Quagsire is decently healthy, but really only going to be kind of helpful against the Raging Bolt. And it really only moderately so. You'll see. Well, so goes out of the Quagsire. I think this is a smart play. He's going to try to get up. Goes for the Body Press first here. I think in retrospect, he would have loved to put up a Spike there, because he does take a turn to do it. Yeah, he lives the Psychic, takes a turn to do it here. If he had put up a Spike instead of going for that Body Press, then he could have sacked the Heatran. I guess you would have ended up doing the same thing anyways, right? Yeah. Because now the Heatran's going to come in, try to live. T-Tar's going to get sacked. That's what had to happen. And then the Raging Bolt's going to come out, live the Earth Power, which is kind of unfortunate for him. Now, there's a lot of, the only way out for Drew here is some luck. You need to get a crit on the Ivy Cudgel. And even then, I don't think... Yeah, I mean, this thing had Sludge Wave. I guess there's no way out from there. But really good game. Drew had a great showing against Zach, and Zach going undefeated this season in his victory. I think he did that at least one other time in his title run, in one of his three-peat runs. Doesn't happen often that we see somebody with a perfect season, and Zach had it there, so well done. That's gonna wrap up season 21 of the ABL. So what I want to do for next season, it's Google sheet there. Standings. Oh geez, I just realized I don't think I fucked with this when I was doing the South. Sorry guys. So what I want to do for next season is this week I really want to put out like basically an exit poll. So please be ready with any thoughts about any Pokemon you used or any Pokemon you face that you feel really should have their cost changed. Give me an idea how much time you want off in between seasons, because I think on paper we could probably squeeze in another season before the end of the year if everyone wanted to. We could probably squeeze in 3 total seasons before the generation split if people were up for that. But I expect people to want to take some time off. That's my assumption of what's going to happen. If you have any ideas for anything you really want to do for an off-season event, if Zach wants to try to spin up the doubles again, because I know there's a lot of interest in it, we can also do that. So just have some thoughts ready for that. I'm going to send out exit polls this week sometime. Thank you all for another awesome season, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.